Hello everyone, this is Gwydion, and I thought I'd do a video on character creation for Rangers of Shadow Deep, the game that I converted into Fantasy Grounds with the permission of the author, Joseph A. McCullough. So again, I'm just going to focus on character creation here. So if you jump into the module, and hopefully you'll know from my prior video how to load the module and get that set up to play, let's jump into creating a Ranger. So without reading all of this, in general, there's a fair bit of character customization. So determine a little bit kind of what do you want your ranger to be. Do you want them to be a dual wielding ranger, good with a bow, charismatic, just the basic decisions. And I have some FG notes in the reference manual, but you can pull up the pre-gen. I've already got it loaded, but I'll show you how to do that. If you click on characters, you can see I have it loaded. But when you first launch, you're going to have to click this up arrow. And most of these are the companions, which we'll talk about as part of character creation. But scroll down to Ranger and click the plus sign to add character, and then it will show up just like mine does here. Okay, I've already got it hyperlinked, so let's just look at that. Okay, so we've got the character sheet up. So build points. So each Ranger starts with 10 build points, and those can be used to increase your stats, things that are called heroic abilities. Those are, I guess, a little bit like feats if you play 5e, D&D 5e. You can add to your skills, and I'll cover those. And finally, I don't say that here. I might need to add that, but you can also buy spells, so I might have to update that note. So you have 10 hero points, or sorry, 10 build points. I've included a build points up in the character sheet, and if you want to track what you're using, you can double click them. You can kind of keep track on how many you've used. So I'll show you that functionality. And again, I'm using more core, updated only so that I can put the, excuse me, the logo of Rangers of Shadow Deep. So let's start with stats. Scroll back to the top. Does it tell you how many? It should. Well, let's just go over the stats first. So there's 6 basic stats: move, fight, shoot, armor, will, and health. Fight is interesting. That's, if you're doing hand-to-hand, everything's going to be fight. There's not really a dex-based. It's going to be fighting. And interestingly, when you go into combat, if it's your turn and you initiate combat, you have a chance to hurt the enemy, and the enemy has a chance to hurt you. So it's kind of a simultaneous thing. And then on their turn, the same thing. When they attack you, it's like a simultaneous combat, which is interesting. Shoot is really going to be for your bows and thrown weapons, and then armor is obvious. Will, a little bit more about determination, resisting spells, and then health, obviously how much damage you can take. You'll see when you open the base character sheet that I've already loaded in the base stat lines. So for movement, you get 6. So you can see move 6, fight +2. So you'll see in the attributes, if you hover over, it'll say fight stat. That's where we'll increase this if we decide to increase the fight stat. This is really for a modifier. Like if you get a modifier for a magic item or something, I left this open so we could do both of these and then toggle the roll. So you can choose up to 3 of your build points to increase your ranger stat. For each point you spend, you may increase any one stat by 1. You may only increase 1 stat at a time. I think you can do 2 I think you could use 2 on the same stat, I believe. Let me read that again. Well, I don't know. It says any. So for each build point, yeah, so any 1 stat by 1. So I'm going to do, I always like the traditional rangers. So I'm going to do shoot 1. So I'll move that to a 2. And I'm going to double click on my build points. And now I'm at 9. You can see a little note in chat. I'm going to use, what else can I do? Shoot, armor, will. I want to do will, because I feel like that could help me fend off some magic items or spells and things like that. And then let's do move. That'd be interesting. Maybe giving me 1 extra inch on the movement. So that's 3 build points. So I'm done with that. You don't have to use 3, but I'm going to use 3. And remember, you can't do armor. All right. So let's move on to the next. Heroic abilities and spells. I always forget. I believe you can, once you buy these, you can use them once per, I believe it's scenario. So there's missions that may have multiple scenarios, but I think they reset after each scenario. When we get into the play video, I'll go through that. But for now, we'll read this quickly. So I can spend up to 5 build points for heroic abilities and spelled at 1 each. Each heroic ability can only be purchased once, and again, they're only used once. Each spell may be purchased a number of times, because again, once you use it, it does go away, meaning for that session. So if you want to be able to cast it multiple times, as I read that, you'd have to buy it more than once. Heroic abilities can be used as a free action. Spells, a ranger must spend an action to use a spell. So again, I won't go through all of that. We can do that during gameplay. So the heroic abilities and spells are included in the abilities icon over here. So you'll see I have them grouped. Let me drag that here. But I have them grouped between heroic abilities list and spell list. Not all of these will have like roles or anything attached to them, but whenever possible, I've included the roles. So I'm going to pick a couple of things that do have roles and show you how I'm going to set this up on the character sheet. Modifiers, I've tried to explain that when possible. I don't know if I've done it all the time, but if you click up in this modifier button and scroll through them, you'll see all of the things that I've added to the modifiers. So effects, again, same thing. I've tried to build out as many of the effects as I can. Really all of these are just notational, but at least you can put them in the combat tracker and have a little idea of what's going on, even though it's not fully automated. All right, so let's look. Here are all of the ability lists. Even though I have them listed here, you can roll through brief descriptions. Because I'm showing character creation, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on these, but I am going to pick Halt Undead because that does have a role to it. So let's do this. Let's click on Halt Undead, and you'll see I have a general description. All undead within 10 inches in line of sight must make a will roll, and if they fail, they lose their next activation, so basically their next turn. And here's the actual roll. Okay, and it's a saving throw, which has this unique icon for Morcor. So what I did is I just updated this, so I'm going to have to re-upload the module to show this, but I have a little just data section here for Halt Undead. I'm going to drop that there just so you have it on the character sheet. And then on this sheet, I'm going to drag the role to heroic abilities. So now you can see that is a role here, and if you click on it, I won't go through all of it now again, but you can see it shows 1d20, and it has to be greater than 20 for Halt Undead. Here, that's the challenge roll. That was a 10, so it's a failure. Okay, so a little bit of functionality, which is cool. So I'm going to buy that heroic ability, so that's going to cost me a build point. I'm going to do one other that I like. Where is it? Something about a weapon I thought was pretty cool. Maybe it's a spell, I think. Let's see, I'll take one other. I'll do dive for cover. Why not? Just because. Let's go to this tab. Let's go up to the abilities, dive for cover. So in this case, there's a modifier so that it may add +10 to his fight roll when rolling against a shooting attack. So I'm kind of like doing the dip, dive, duck, dodge, roll out of the way. So that is another one. And in this case, what I would do is I'd find the modifier, dive for cover. And remember, you can drag these to your hotkey bar too. So I can drag it down here. And the reason that's cool is obviously you have your modifier over here. And if I click on that, it shows +10. But then if I roll, it's kind of nice that it says dive for cover +10. So it tells you what you used and it shows the results. So I kind of like that. All right, so that's another one, I believe. And let's go to spells. I'll do another one. Enchanted Steel. I don't remember if that has. I want to get that one because I like it. And I might use this character when I show the first kind of how-to video to actually play. So let's do this. Let's drag that onto spells. Remember if I did that. Let's do this. I think there's only an effect for this one. So I can, it doesn't really say the distance. I've never really understood that. But I assume I can imbue a melee weapon for someone I can see maybe, but that's just my interpretation. So I could do it to a companion possibly. That's what I do. And so let's go to effects. I think I've included an effect for this. Here's Enchanted Steel. So again, it'll just note you can drop that on the companion or on yourself in the combat tracker. It's got a turn of 0, meaning it'll stay on as long as the scenario is in place. And then I think it drops off after the scenario ends. And then let's do heal, because I know that does have a a roll for that. So I'll put heal there. And I do have, certainly you could track, I put a point here. You could track your spell points here. It might just be easier to delete these off your sheet as you use them, since you can only use them once a scenario. I don't know. I'll leave it to you to determine how to do it. There's multiple ways. But then I guess, let's see, this should be a roll up here. Let's see if I can drop that up there. Yeah. And so you can use, and it'll probably tick this off. I should say I have, I don't know, at least 1 point probably. And then if I click this to heal and say it's healed the damage, it didn't tick off a spell point, so maybe I needed to tick that off. Yeah, using a spell, and then that goes to 0. But I don't know, multiple ways you can put that in, but that's another, I believe, right? That's 4 more build points. I'm going to hold for there, but there's a bunch more spells. You can see in the rolls, there's only a handful. I got a lot of magic items that I'll go through during the game, but for heroic abilities, there's only a few that actually have a roll to them, and spells, same thing. There's only a few that rolls made sense. So, okay. Moving on to skills. So in this case, you can increase 8 different skills by 1 each for each build point you use, and you can spend up to 5. I'm going to spend, I think I'll spend 2. So let's do 8. And I tried to make a note here, but skills are listed on the first tab. Some of the skills have 1 box and some have 2. First box is for the bonus based on any build points assigned. So I just kind of said bonus for that. The second box, where applicable, is to capture a bonus for any magic items, because there's only some magic item only affects certain abilities. Like I didn't see any that affected navigation or perception or pick lock, so I didn't include 2 bonuses for those. But for armory, there is a different magic item bonus, so I did toggle that, so this way you can actually put them both in here. So let's look at the skill list. So again, there's I think 15, 18 skills, but you can look at all these, which is cool. Leadership is kind of neat because you can add your leadership skill to your total recruitment points. I don't know that I'll do it this time, but if you have leadership, then you can add your skill to the total points. Let me pull that up for a second. Yeah, I guess that's all it says. That's kind of neat when we get into the companion section. So for now, I don't know, let's do acrobatics is a good ranger feat. So that's 1. That's 1. I can do 8 of these. So that's 1. Let's do perception is always good for ranger. That's 2. Pick lock. I don't know. I'm a traditional roguish ranger, so we'll do that. 3. Stealth, absolutely. 4. So it's interesting. So it is 4, but that's only 1 bonus. So strength. So sometimes if you're breaking down doors and escaping from bonds, you don't have an attribute for that, so you would use your strength skill. So something to pay attention to. I'm going to do survival. Why not? That'll help. It's 5. Traps, always a good skill. 6. And what else? I don't know. Maybe I'll get in the water. So I'll do, you know what I'm going to do? Climb. That's 7. And then what does armory do? As an armory skill place, it always treated as, that's interesting. Yeah, we'll do ancient lore. Maybe there's something I can do to do a kind of skill check around lore. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Should have said that 1, 8. So again, like if I roll on a trap roll, then you'll see over here, I get 1d20 plus 1. I got a 3. That probably would not succeed, but there you go. So that is 3 points. I'm going to do 1 more. So let's go through that again. I'm going to beef up some other stats. Maybe just to make it easy, I'm going to make all of these 2s rather than go through and debate on stream what's the best. Or I should say on video. I'm not streaming today. All right. 2 survival, 2. All right, so that looks good. All right, moving on. Recruitment points. This is fun. This is where you can actually, so this is mostly a solo game. So this is a way to allow you to be stronger and have more of a party associated with you. So it's kind of like some of the, I don't know, Baldur's Gate, some of the, D&D or Pathfinder computer adventures where you're getting in a whole party. So I think it's kind of a neat way to do that. So you can spend 100 base recruitment points that allow you to select allies from the companion list. And I think there's some notes here that says usually if you're solo, you want to do that. If you're playing with one other player, if you have 3 or 4 players, and maybe it's probably not as relevant. So here's what I'm going to do. I get 2 points left, so I'm just going to tick that off and say I've used them all. I created a notes section, and I just said companions 100. So for every build point, I get to take 10. So I'm going to start with 120. I'm just going to note that so I can track what I've used. All Ranger companions have been included as pre-gens. So again, see a typo already. Take care of that. So here we go. Oh, you know what? Let's go into weapons, I guess, before I do the build points, since that's next. I didn't realize that came up next. So all basic equipment is included in the items shield icon. So we'll pull that up. So let's go to basic equipment, or just equipment. So here are all the basic equipment items. And each has a weight of 1. And that, if you scroll up again, since I blew by this, you have 6 item slots, as you can see. Well, not you can see on the Fantasy Grounds version, but you start with 5. When creating a ranger, you can choose up to 5 items, no cost. And later, if you find a better weapon, you may discard one to carry it. But you always can have new basic equipment for free after any mission. And you only wear 1 type of armor, either light or heavy. And if ranger is carrying a 2-handed weapon or a staff, you cannot carry a shield. So that's something to keep in mind. So I did, like I said, I have a weight of 1 just to designate, and so you know when you get to your inventory tab how many you've used. So I'm going to definitely do a bow. I'm a bow guy. So there's bow. You can see the 1, total weight 1. If you have a bow, you have to have a quiver. Let's see. What else do I say here? Moving quickly. So I've created modifiers to track damage modifiers for each weapon. Just again, open up this and you'll see them, like for crossbow and things like that. If there are modifiers, or a dagger is a -1, you'll see those modifiers. So this kind of explains all of your weapons. So I've already put bow on. And again, that's really going to be informational, because we'll roll the fight roll, and then based on the weapon, it'll do the damage, but we'll go through that during our actual game session. So we'll do a bow, we'll do a quiver. It says right here, you must also carry a quiver, so you can say that's 2, and I get 5. I'm going to go light armor. Light armor, figure wears, receives +1 for light armor. Let's do that. And I think, so when we start the game, I'll show this, but, oh shoot, I don't have a note here. So what we'll do, since I know I'm doing light armor, is we're going to move our armor from 10 to 11. Let's do that there so I know about it. Okay, that's 3. So I definitely want to have some kind of sword. I don't think I want to do a sword and a shield. So, what does a staff give me? -1 damage modifier, but opponent, I have 3 more slots. Oh, how about just a hand weapon? That's probably good. Yeah, let's do a hand weapon. I get into close combat, so that's 4. So I have 1 more. Now I might just do a rope. I know there might be some utility to the rope, so let's do a rope. That's it. Pretty easy peasy. All right. Basic rules, setting up the table. We're not going to go through that. We're going to jump to companions. So let's go to companions. So number of players, 1. You can have, so you get your base recruitment points when you have 1. So in my mind, let's see, or my case, that would be the 100 plus the 20 that I added. So that's 120. So in my case, that is 120. I don't know if it talks leadership here. It does, right? So it's not to your base recruitment point. So in a 2-player game, the ranger had a leadership skill of 5, +5, you get 55. So if I had given myself a skill of 1, instead of 120, I'd have 121. I don't know how useful that is. And So most animal companions can't carry items. They usually come with equipment already that I'll show you. And the first time a companion is selected, the ranger may also assign it +3 to any skill. This may be a skill the companion already possesses, in which case his bonus increased by +3, or any other skill. Oh, that's interesting. I don't know that I realized that when I played live. So this will explain all of the abilities. So I'm just going to kind of rip through these, but I want to show you. So let's just say I want to pick an archer. So again, we'll go in here. We'll find the archer, which is right here. We'll hit plus. We'll go back. There's my archer. So we'll keep him here. And you should see, hopefully, if I've done this right. So let's go to my notes. And I should hotkey this note so I don't keep doing this. Let's see this down here. All right. So he is 20 points. That goes down to 100. All right. And you can see I have up here just recruit points, just as a note. We'll do this later before the game. But 6 move is there. +2 fight. +2 shoot. I must have missed that. So I'm going to have to update that. In the module, armor 11. I have it there. Will +1 is there. Health 10. Yep, there. Okay, so notes. And I think if you go to inventory, yeah, so he gets a bow or crossbow, which I didn't load. And I think I have that in notes and in combat. So yeah, it kind of explains a little bit about him. Bow or a crossbow, dagger, light armor, and quiver. So since I have the bow, light armor, quiver, geez, I really jacked this up. I'm going to have to change this, guys. Oh, no, I didn't. Ken, dang it. I had it right. I just had my ranger up. I was like, man, I had the wrong. I didn't. I did it right. Pull him up again. And I'm going to get somebody. Let's just get this guy or gal. Pull it down here so that I can, toggle at any time. All right, bow or crossbow. So I've got the dagger, light armor, and quiver, but let's give it a bow. Or you know what? Yeah, let's give it a bow. And I think that's it for that one. All right, so I have that one down here. So I'm going to do, I know there's like a knight in here that look, actually, I like the conjurer too. He's 20. Find that. Conjurer. Boom. Plus. Back. Conjurer. That feels like magic usury. Let's just find somebody. I don't know. This guy looks a little. Rob 2 is going to be our magic user. Why not? There you go, Rob. You're in the video. So again, that's 20. So let's do our little note. That's 80. Okay. So you can kind of see how that works. See if I did the abilities right in this one. 6 move. Health 14. Jeez, man, did I really screw that up? I'm gonna have to go back through all these. Thought I did so well. Proud of myself. I shouldn't have been. Something looks jacked in this. Huh. Well, maybe I just copied them over, and I'm gonna have to go back and look. I apologize, guys. That's weak there. All right. 10 wounds. Move 6. So fight should be 0. Man, I don't like I didn't proof these enough, so I will. I'll go back and do it. Wonder if feels like that's like maybe I grabbed the barbarian or something. So let's go back to the zeros here. Oh, and I realized I didn't do that for the other one. So all right, so let's go back to the inventory. And I'll only do this one. Man, this doesn't show anything. Maybe it's because you can take 2 spells or 3 for an extra cost of 10. I'll definitely do that. Staff or hand weapon. Okay, that's why he doesn't have anything in inventory. That's good. I'll do a staff. And then spells, I'm going to go ahead and do the 3. So let me take this down to 70. And I think I'll finish this off. Let's see, I definitely, even though I already got a heal, I'm going to do heals. Let's do that in the notes, maybe in the data, so I know what he has. Do a heal, which is 1. we'll do old creature. Sounds like that'd be cool. And then burning mark. Ooh, I like that. All evil creatures within 2 inches suffer. I like that. All right, so there's 3. So I'll go back and proof all these and re-upload. Now that I'm looking at this, it feels like maybe I went too fast on them. But I'll finish out the companions, but that's the gist of it. And basically now you've got your whole party. There's quite a few. There's a little variety, and I think I'll pull one of the guardsmen. There's a hound, which is cool. Very low recruitment points, but another body for you. Knight is one that I will definitely get because he definitely has heavy weapons, shields. So kind of a fair bit of variety. So that's it. And then from there you jump in. That took about 20-25 minutes. So I apologize for a little bit of the errors there on the companions, but I'll get that cleaned up. But that is creating a character in Rangers of Shadow Deep for Fantasy Grounds. So the next time I do a video, I'm going to try to do just a playthrough and see how it plays on Fantasy Grounds. So thanks everyone for watching, and until next time, hope to see you around on the Fantasy Grounds forums.